Hi, everybody. Running really late tonight. We're going to burn the midnight oil. Um, let's check on Facebook to see if I'm on. This is day 1122. I believe so. Um, I haven't used the calculator in a while, so I need to do that again and readjust so many days because our 44 four-star generals and admirals have betrayed us. They are enemies. They have committed crimes against humanity, and they are serving foreign and domestic enemies. Uh, Absolutely. I was just listening. I'm not those are not my words. Um, I'm saying it. I'm saying it. But here is Colonel Douglas McGregor, and uh, I'm looking at it, and I'll share it with you. Saying the situation that's going on in our military. And it was just, you think that I'm tough. You think I'm tough. He's really, really tough. We absolutely need to turn off the spigot for our uh, Department of Defense. We need to turn off the spigot for so much of our agencies. They have um, they have betrayed us. They have forgotten that who pays them. They have forgotten who they're supposed to serve, and they are committing at the highest levels. I'm not talking about the lowest levels. Even it's going on there because there's always a trickle down in the culture that we get caught up in. That we get, it's a spiraling down into the abyss. That's what um, Van Til, Cornelius Van Til, I believe I have the right person there talking about um, when we decide to just kind of throw off the Ten Commandments, throw off biblical morality, then we end up in a spiral, in a storm, in a fire, in a fire that is just spiraling down into the abyss with so many children missing. And this is where what we're finding. I mean, if you listen to the Colonel McGregor, he's talking about tens of thousands of children missing from Ukraine. And now we have children missing from Hawaii, and we know we have 85,000 and more unaccounted for um, minors right there from the emergency intake center on Fort Bliss. And so, if that's not a spiraling down into the abyss, because children are our future. Children are our future. Try growing old without the next generation. It's not a good thing. It is not a good thing, especially if you're dependent on VA disabilities and Social Security and all of that thing. It's not a good thing to grow old without our children. And where are they? Where are they? Not. I hope people don't twist what I'm saying, but it's uh, not that I'm. Oh, how can I say this in the right way? It's not that we're dependent on our children. We shouldn't be dependent on our children for our well being when we're older. But it happens. It happens. I don't know what I would have done without my parents, and I don't think my parents know what they would have done without me. We depend. I don't know what I would do without my children. You know, and we have a great dependence on God and our family, absolutely. But I don't know what we would have done without our children supporting us through all of this, loving us through all of this, being understanding, for putting Richard there, Richard, right up front on everything. And so um, I hope you understand where I'm coming from when I'm talking about these children that are missing. They're missing from their loved ones. And this trafficking, this child trafficking, this grooming of our children into these sex cults, into slavery and whatnot, whatever they're doing, because they're up to no good. We know that. It's all out there. That it's not me. I'm not saying that. It's all out there. It's all being reported over and over again. So let's go on Facebook. That's why there was so little care for Richard's life, so little care for Asia Graham's life, so little care for Enrique Roman Martinez's life, so little care for Lavina Johnson's life, so little care for Austin Hawke's life and Caleb Smither. So little care for them. There should be outrage, absolute outrage. So little care, really, for Vanessa Guillen. Because Richard is the Vanessa Guillen first absent soldier. So they should be held accountable just on the way they proceed with this case, right? It should be a marker. Um, in my book, anyway, in my book. Okay, so I'm here. All right, I'm running so late. I kept Lisa's name on the live stream because I think that is really, really a huge question. I'm reaching out to her because, um, we need to know what's going on in this. Can you imagine? I can see everyone. Thank you so much. Can you imagine the questions going through our head if Leilani Hart's documents here are right and Lisa is engaged in an extramarital affair with James Hart, and she is the co-worker. She is a liaison uh, for disabilities for the board, for the Veterans Board for Disability Benefits. If she is there at the VA and is the point of contact for the CID in Richard's case. And we have so many more names. Um, One that the reason why I was coming on so late um, is Christopher. And I will be talking about him more. And it is, and that's a shocking question too. And I need to give a heads out to him. I need to give a heads out to Edwin. I need to give a heads out to Lisa. I need to give a heads out to Christopher. And, we still have this attorney, right? We still have this attorney who we know who the sister is. Um, that is, you know, um, let's just say that what we're getting, he's involved in this case. He's involved in this case. And, what there seems to be a lot of fraud. There seems to be forgery. There seems to be forgery and fraud and waste and abuse. And those aren't just words now. That is really what we're seeing. And we're getting arrest dates that some people have been arrested. And we haven't been told that people have been arrested. Um, we haven't been told that they found our son's remains. Um, was there a motive to not tell us? Yes, we have uncovered that motive to not tell us. Was there a concerted effort by so many agencies? Yes. What is there? Is there evidence? Yes. A big, there's so much evidence, but I gave a new example today with an old article on Richard. and it's by Olivia from a Spectrum. And in that, Olivia was very good to get a Zoom interview with up to no good, boy, no good at all, Lieutenant Colonel Allie Payne. Matter of fact, yeah, yeah, she's up to no good. That was just, I can't even tell you that experience. Um, but anyway, she granted Olivia, of course, she's a PAO. So she did this Zoom with Olivia, and she concedes that the State Department was working together with the CID. Okay, so the State Department in Mexico was working together, and the State Department in Mexico was at that meeting, that 15 plus agency meeting. Okay, that I attended, that my husband attended, that two of our witnesses attended, um, and they didn't want anyone else to come with us, but we insisted. We brought two more. We should have brought, uh, yeah, we should have brought more. Okay, to it, because it was unofficial. You know, you could come out of uniform. The military was out of uniform. There was no op board. So it was just a gathering. So I don't know what Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe and Donna Martin were so upset about if we brought anybody. You know, there was no food there. There was just water. So it would have been no problem. The room was big enough. And we still had to, you know, kind of pretend about that viruses are alive. But viruses are not alive. They're dead. They are dead. They're exosomes. There's no proof. And I will maintain that. And I will say that. And I am willing to take any kind of brunt, um, snide remarks or whatever. Because do, go do the research. All right? Um, do not let them, these agencies, lie to you over and over and over again. Okay? Um, so I will maintain that. Absolutely. Um, but I don't know what Lieutenant General Donna Martin was getting all upset about because there was no op board. It was like a picnic. They weren't even in uniform. It was like a picnic. And it was fraud, waste, and abuse. And the State Department from Juarez, Mexico, the Mexican government also had uh, their law enforcement in attendance, their government in attendance. I believe their military in attendance. And so, you know, why is that? Because Lieutenant Colonel Allie Payne says, and did I post it up here? Let's see if I posted it on here. I don't think I posted it on here. Let me do that real quick. I'll do it later. I know I put it on Facebook. Let's see. And I think it's very important to read what she has to say. Yeah, here it is. It says here, Spectrum News 1 asked Lieutenant Colonel Payne via Zoom interview about some of the family's concerns. And she says just recently coordinated through the Department of State, through the Criminal Investigative Command, to pursue a lead in Juarez, says Payne. Previously, we had searched some areas here in December here on the installation, but right now it's just accepting active leads and pursue those leads. Okay, so this is really, really important because we have maintained that Nadal Baim, an employee of the FBI, who we have on video, who we have the cashier on video giving her testimony of her discussion with Nadal Baim, an employee of the FBI, but he is also the father-in-law of Lieutenant Colonel Bradford Bugado in the G3 of the 32nd ATCOM, which is Richard's command, saying that they were looking for Richard's remains in Mexico. So they were looking for his remains. They weren't looking for a live Richard living with a prostitute or and the prostitute's boyfriend or whatever. That's not what they were looking for. They were looking for constantly. It was always Richard's remains. They were in the desert looking for remains. They were in Mexico looking for remains, and they were. And here she admits, because we received a phone call not from Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe, not from anybody in his staff, saying, ma'am, we have a lead and we will be looking at the Kamal Jabor training, mock training, Afghanistan training town right there here on Fort Bliss. We're going to look for Richard's remains, just to let you know. Just to let you know. No, that wasn't the case at all. That's not what happened. What happened is it's Christmas. It's Christmas. And we get a phone call, and it is, ma'am, I'm here. I'm here in El Paso. And did you know that the general is looking for Richard's remains at the mock Afghanistan town? Are you aware of that? No. Okay. All right. I just want to let you know. It's Christmas. They're out there looking. They're out there looking. And so here she is, being confirmed by Lieutenant Colonel Allie Payne. Lieutenant Colonel Allie Payne is not just anybody, okay? She's not just anybody. Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe told me to my face that Allie Payne was his mouthpiece, his words, okay? So here he is. Here they are telling, after we called him and said, are you looking for Richard's remains? And the training area 244, training area 244, the mock, and I've put up a map on that because we've been made the chief investigators, we've been made the media, so we have been putting up everything to be transparent where the command is not transparent, where the CPS is not transparent, where the JAG is not transparent, where the VA is not transparent, where Park University is not transparent, where the DES, the chief of security of Fort Bliss, is not transparent, where Delta Battery 143 is not transparent. Try to look up those dates. Try to look up those soldiers. Try to see what they say about that time period. They're not transparent. Okay? So we're being transparent here, and that's why we're giving Edwin a heads up. We're giving Lysa a heads up, and we're giving Christopher a heads up. When I know more about Christopher, I will post that, because I know quite a bit now about Edwin, and I know quite a bit about Lysa, and I just want to give them a chance to give their side of the story, right? They need to give their side of the story, because this is about the forced disappearance and presumed murder, not just murder, let's say the forced disappearance and presumed premeditated murder of our son. But it's not just our son. He is a soldier in the U.S. Army that was forcibly removed from his barracks room and premeditatedly murdered by his own, by his own. And then a op-ord, a huge um, operation. What do you call it? It's um, is it a code red? Is that what they call it? A code red, where the general, like Major General Clem Coward, like General McConville, like General Garrett, like Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe, like Lieutenant General Donna Martin would participate in a code red to destroy a whistleblower, to protect criminal activity in the military, to destroy a whistleblower to protect, maybe, I don't know, their business plans. I don't know. Because what it's looking like now is the fraud, the forgery and the fraud is so big that it had to be coordinated much better than a task force find Richard Halliday. Okay? And so it would have to include many attorneys. It would have to include a judge. We know Judge Robert Shook um, did a lot. We have to know that it includes the sheriffs. We have to know that it includes people in the VA, that it includes people in the CPS, that it includes people um, in the, let's say, being an administrator, people working at Park University. It has to include DES. It has to include the security chief of Fort Bliss. It has to include the command. It has to include um, Customs and Border Protectors. It has to include Mexican officials. This is international. This has to include the DA, the governor of Texas. It has to include Governor Abbott. It has to include the representatives. Because you see, if it didn't include Veronica Escobar in this cover up, if she's not implicated, which she is, because if she wasn't, she would have had already a congressional um, what do you call it, an investigation, a hearing. She would have clicked heels together. She has all the power. But silence has implicated her. Her do nothing has implicated her. And it would have absolutely have to include the FBI. And we know that on October 26th, the FBI took over Richard's case because of Nadal Baim, right? We turned it in right away. And instead of being grateful to us, instead of giving us due process, instead of giving us justice, they obstructed justice. They denied us due process. They even used military operations against us. I have an example of that, including traced phone calls. Also, they use asymmetric warfare tactics against us in many ways that anyone who's been paying attention has been like, okay, where's this person? Where's this person? Um, yeah, that was a setup job. Asymmetric warfare to control what we were thinking, the narrative, the direction that our Team Find Richard Halliday investigation was going. Absolutely. And so this is, I just can't even tell you because I can hardly believe it myself. Because I just want to know where Richard is. I want to know what happened to Richard. I want to hold those accountable for the premeditated murder of Richard. I want to hold them accountable. And I'm very, very glad at this point, at this point, at the beginning we were like, let's give immunity. Things are really crazy with this COVID stuff, and all the murders and all the whole culture. You know, it's so bad. Let's give immunity. So like Jay Paulin, we would have offered him immunity. Dallas Hart, we would have offered him immunity. Tavita Newsom, Leilani Hart, and James Hart, and um, several people that were in attendance that we know of, and the likes of Clem Coward, and that. But you know what? At this point, that's off the table. That's not no longer an option. It's no longer an option. No. Um, we have too much, and they did too much. At the beginning, we did not know that they were raping 7-year olds. We did not know that they were, grooming um, to live in incest. We did not know. We did not know the pain, the suffering of the threats, the lawlessness, the complete lawlessness, even of the lawless purchase, the unlawful purchase of weapons, and the threats. The threats. And when you make those kind of threats, then you're very suspicious of murders like Richard. And the child pornography, the production of pornography, because in this papers, I got all this papers to go through and names, and now we have several names, but one that I can kind of give you a hint at is Christopher, and makes you think, because remember that Christopher a long time ago? It makes you think, is there a connection? Is there a connection? But with Lysa Lennon Williams and Jay Paulin being in there in the VA, and this supposed Lysa being the connection with the CID, can you imagine the horror that we're living through thinking about that? So I really hope that she straightens that out very, very soon, because it is just, your imagination at this point. The imagination is reality. It becomes reality because you see it in the documents. Nadal Baim, he was a nightmare, and all of a sudden we found out who he was, and the nightmare was worse in reality. So we're facing reality, and it is unbelievable to a lot of people. And that's why we had to put Allie Payne's, Lieutenant Colonel Allie Payne's words up, which were Sean Bernabe's words. Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe. He told me her words, she speaks for the general. And they were looking for Richard's remains in December on Fort Bliss. We know that. And so when people say, that is hard to believe that they were looking for Richard's remains at the Kamal Jabbar training area 244 on Fort Bliss, the mock Afghanistan village. They wouldn't do that. Well, they did. And here it is out of the general's mouth. And when they say, oh, no, the State Department, no way would they just look for an AWOL. So, he just went AWOL. Just let him go AWOL. Just let it go for a while. Isn't that what Jay Paulin kept telling me? Oh, he'll come back in a while. And I'm like, no way, Jay. Literally. You must not know my son. He's is missing. Something happened to him. And we're way behind because you didn't call. Because you know what happened. Because what he said was so criminal over and over again. And he knows that Richard was a whistleblower. He knows that the IG were all over the barracks because of Halliday. He knows. And I'm so glad we didn't listen to him, because he was really trying to convince us, and trying to lead Jakovitz too around, which confused us, because why would a command sergeant major listen to a retired first sergeant, the likes of Jay Paulin? I don't know. But it seems that the government likes these criminals because they hire them. They hire them. And, I used to really pity Jerry Jakovitz. But I'm afraid for our service members, y'all. Think about what he did. I am so afraid for our service members that he now works for the VA, and Jay Paulin James Hart works for the VA. I am so afraid because of the forgery and the fraud and the criminal activity that they participate in. That leads to the premeditated murder, to suicides, to PTSD, to grooming, to all kinds of terrible, terrible things. I don't want them hired over our service members. No. They have suffered enough with these generals that have betrayed them. Listen to what Colonel McGregor is saying in his interview. If you haven't seen it with Carlson, listen to it. It is wow. Wow. You'll have to go out. If you don't have a garden, you'll have to go out and do something really good. Look at a beautiful sunset. Take pictures of the moon. Make a flower arrangement. Paint a picture. Take care of your grandkids. Do something really good. Go get your hair done or whatever. Because let me tell you, it is so awful, the state in which our military is in right now. It is so awful. I have this beautiful picture of Richard in Ireland in front of me. Let's see. Yeah, this is it. Oh, yeah, this was the Spectrum News. Beautiful picture. Nice weather there for him to be in a t-shirt on that day. Yeah, handsome. I miss him. Oh man. Okay. Let's see what my notes are, and if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer. But the cover up. The cover up. The events at Van Buren, the cover up, but it started way before then. I want everyone to know that Richard had a file before he went missing, okay? And he went in, and you have to realize that it was emotional for Richard to go in. I think for many families, it is emotional. We did not want Richard to join the military. Rob and I did not want him to. And because we knew what, like a little bit of what was going on in the military. And so we didn't like that little bit. And so we wanted him to go a different direction. But he wanted to. He wanted to. He wanted to be um, go into law enforcement. He wanted to pay his own way, just like Robert. Our two sons. They want to pay their own way, um, and so he went in. We had sent him a ticket to come meet us in South Korea, where our daughter um, was there. He was really glad to come because Hannah and him have always been really close. And with the grandkids, he's James's godfather. And so he came. And I tried everything to convince him not to. And Rob was like, listen to your mother. Listen to your mother. Um, but he wouldn't have any of it. And he joined. And he did so well. He did so well. And I just said, okay, Richard, I am eating crow. I am going to send you that $500 to meet your award for becoming the Distinguished Honor Graduate for your cycle. I'm so sorry. Maybe, hey, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. And maybe the Army is for you, you know? And he made rank really quick and he got 3 AAMs. And my husband was like, geez, I didn't get AAMs like this. But he got AAMs really excited. And we knew that he was getting into law enforcement. We knew that he was taking classes and he was deployed to Qatar. And things went wrong there. Something happened in Qatar because that's when he made the 180. So that is in the end of 2018, the beginning of 2019. So things started happening then. Things started happening then. And when he came back from Qatar and he came to us in Florida, August of 2019, he said, I'll talk about anything, but not the Army. Don't ask me anything about the Army. And so because of what happened before he joined, and I made a big stink about him joining, I just said, okay, I love you. And Rob said, keep your head down, do your time, get out. And we weren't even worried about him not wanting to make E5. We weren't worried about him not wanting to make it a career. We were like, nope, fine, keep your head down, get out. But see, what he was seeing, what he knew, was something that he couldn't just keep his head down because it involved children. And we know that it involved children because of the CPS complaints. We know that it involved children because we know the person that is connected with the CPS that's connected with Richard's case. And we know the interference. We know the interference. So we know it involves children. And Richard would never look the other way. when it comes to children. Because remember, he's the one that would buy Hollywood money, $100 Hollywood money bills to do his mission down there in Naples, Florida, and take care of the kids. And we have, the teachers that absolutely loved him, the kids that absolutely loved him. And, one reason why they loved him is, he'd entertain them. And when they did good and um, did their lessons, he'd give them a Benjamin, right? A Benjamin. Anyway, he loved games, y'all. He loved games. He loved games, board games, card games. He loved games way more than watching TV. He loved to, be a family and play Playmobiles. He loved Playmobiles. Um, so he would never be quiet with children, 7 year olds, and a 3 year old, 5 year old, um, being sexually assaulted in the master bedroom of Lilani Hart. And he wouldn't stay quiet with all of this sex cult stuff, everyone sleeping with everyone, um, and participating in um, child trafficking and child pornography and making money off of it. And also the selling of equipment, or even forgery using social security numbers, forging documents for loans and things like that. Um, he learned in his homeschool Mises economics. Um, he knew. He knew enough. He knew enough to know that it wasn't right. And he absolutely, we made sure of it, knew the Ten Commandments. I mean, one of the very first things that I taught the boys, and another child, um, when we were in Poland before we even got back, would be the Gloria, how to sing the Gloria, how to say the Lord's Prayer. Why? So that when we went to church, they could participate. They were so great. Oh my gosh, they were so cute. They were so cute. And we would just sit in that Kubalonka, old Soviet style hospital. Um, it's so hard to explain to everybody because you couldn't control the temperature in your room. And um, anyway, so we stayed in there for a little over a month, and we would go sledding, and we would, after lunch, come back, and I would have them all stand in front of me, in front of the bed, and we would say nursery rhymes, the ABCs, the Gloria, the Lord's Prayer, and, maybe for 40 minutes we would do that. Um, and then we'd have snacks or whatever, but we did that every day, and they were so cute, y'all, because I wanted them to enjoy life when they got home with their sisters, and they could participate because they didn't know any English. They didn't know any English. This was all. You should have heard Robert singing the Spider-Man theme song with his Polish accent and his broken English. It was the cutest thing ever in the whole world. Um, he loves Spider-Man so much. And I'm sure maybe he's listening and he'll be laughing. But um, the the military and the agencies are doing no good to us. And okay, so they're doing no good, but they're doing it on our dime, and I've had enough of them. I don't want the DA. I don't want the AG. I don't want, you know, Amy Snotty um, needs to send us the money that they've allocated for Richard's um, case. And it's all Stonewall, Stonewall, Stonewall. And maybe we got the governor's attention when we want to know about the money, because you know what? It's our money. So we need to turn off the spigots because they're using our money, our futures, our children's futures to betray us and to rob us and to manipulate us and to really destroy so many of us. And so I've had enough. I don't think that the Department of Defense in the situation it is right now does any good. Matter of fact, I think it does a lot of harm. It where are the children? Where are the children? The admirals were in charge of it. Where are they? Where's the children down in Ukraine? What has happened to that country? Bomb the hell out of it, and that's okay. That beautiful country, people don't understand. The Ukraine is a bit bread basket. I mean, it has very fertile soil. Um, but as Colonel McGregor states, it is more corrupt than Mexico, and we know Mexico is corrupt. Why? Um, because let me tell you, if our military was doing the right thing, Mexico wouldn't be as corrupt. Let's not forget about the army being used to do a lot of dirty work. And I've just had enough of it. I did not even realize. And once we just shut the whole thing down, I think we'll be better off. I do. I do, because we still have our states and we can retrench. We can decide what we want to do. Um, that's where I'm at right now. We need to turn off the spigot, because if they're not going to answer us and commit all of these crimes and we have no recourse to report these crimes, and these criminals get away with these premeditated felony crimes, yeah. Because let me tell you, Jay Pollan is not a little person. He has a very, very, very influential role. And if he's misusing that role, because why isn't Leilani Hart arrested? I mean, she has said that he put a gun to her head and he threatened her to kill her and to threaten her immigration status if she said anything about the child porn and his dealings with these young girls. And let's not forget, there's more to it than that even. And it's as easy as that. And now, if that's a false allegation that was notarized, where's her arrest? See, someone needs to be arrested there. That's an arrestable document. And if he is who she says he is, he does not need to be in close proximity to our service members and to be entrusted in such a important as being on the health board, the disability health board, determining if our service members, what kind of disability they should get. It's that is that's that's very clear, very clear. But where is the arrest? You see, and where is Lilani Hart saying, "Oh no, 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 I didn't mean to do it," or I mean, why are they protecting? It seems to me they're protecting Dallas Hart. Why are they protecting Dallas Hart? Um, there's a lot of rumors out there. And what Dallas Hart told me on the phone um, wasn't convincing because he said he doesn't know Tavita Nusa. Sorry. That, no. Um, Distancing himself from his mother when we know that he was there. Um, just lots of different, the whole Delta Battery 143. And I think Edwin could answer a lot of these questions. And that's why we put Edwin's name out there. I think Edwin, very close proximity with the Hart family, he could answer some of these questions. I also put up um, Thomas Kane's letter again because I don't think that needs to be just overlooked easily. We're talking about the chief of security of Fort Bliss, and I think that needs to be carefully read because he's telling us that the command there on Fort Bliss obstructed justice um, by tampering with a witness without a packet, without justice, without notice. And we're still waiting for that to be undone. And that's why we're asking for letters to be written to Major General Eisenhower, asking him to do the right thing. And I know that Colonel James Brady, but he acted for Major General Eisenhower with um, that debacle, that uh, obstruction of justice, that denial of due process, and also betraying Richard. Let's just say it what it is. They are more concerned about their own skin than about uh, Richard. And that's why service members that see this kind of betrayal, when they've been told, we're an army of one, we leave no soldier behind, Medal of Honor ethos, we need to follow the creed and all of this, but yet the leaders throw our young service members under the bus or throw them, uh, maybe into that pigsty. That's still in my brain. They didn't care. And then I got the autopsies and I'm thinking, oh, they already have his partial remains, right? They already have it. Um, and that sounds so insane that they would cover up that. But this whole case is one irregularity after another. One irregularity after the other. And the biggest one is just the response. The response puts up a lot of red flags. So, um, thank you everyone for coming on. And I will be talking about Christopher. Oh, yeah, I forgot. We have two more 2 more police reports. Okay. Um, so they are for Lolani Hart. So this, we have so many police reports. This is a lawless family. This is a troubled family. One is for harassment, and the other one is for breaking of a restraining order. And I will, but I mean, isn't that enough? Isn't that enough? Can you imagine breaking a restraining order? And we know that there was a restraining order with these back here, this list. Oh, yeah, there's a few more names. We know that there was a domestic abuse. We know that there was a domestic disturbance. We know there was a harassment, and then another harassment, and another harassment. Now here's another one for harassment. That makes 4 harassments, a domestic disturbance, and a domestic abuse. And then here, because I know on this one it says that there was a 3-year restraining order. Okay. And then here is the breaking of a restraining order. So, wow, y'all. Multiple victims in these cases. And I'm just saying, long history. Long history. So, any questions? I think that bringing up Lieutenant Colonel Allie Payne was very important. And, there's so many fronts on this, so much evidence over and over and over again. And I just wanted to make sure that you reread Thomas Kane's letter. That's an amazing piece of evidence. We have the notarized criminal complaint confession affidavit from Lolani Hart that the CID and the FBI accepted as cases and gave them a case number, which is hard to do. And we have those case numbers, which is also interesting. So we have that as evidence. We also have the videos of Nadal Baim, and we also have the information from Anthony Swafford. We also have the cashier's testimony. We also have the testimony of those that say that Dallas Hart was in Delta Battery 143. That's why we maintain that he was Delta Battery 143, the platoon leader. And we have, of course, David Park's letter. We have over and over and over again screenshots. We have, of course, the telephone, that the 4 of them that we traced, that were the vile and vulgar messages, and we traced them, and that's just the tip of the iceberg of what we have. We have Lieutenant General Donna Martin contacting us the day before January 6th to tell us not to go. Don't go and hand out prayer candles in the nation's capital. Don't go. Don't go. Really? Why? Why? Now we have the phone call of December, Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe looking for Richard's remains. We have the point of contact in the Department of State there in Juarez admitting that the FBI was looking for Richard's remains in Juarez. Um, you know, it's just the tip of the iceberg. Tip of the iceberg. So, Lysa could help us figure out that lead, because what we're hearing is that she was up to no good. And I think that she deserves a chance to defend herself, because it's bad. It's very, very bad. All right, everyone. We also have the autopsy reports that remain unanswered, officially unanswered, with Dr. Raskin Ortez, Mario Raskin Ortez. See, I can't forget. I can't forget these names. There's a couple other names on there that I haven't mentioned. Um, that needs to be officially answered. We have a confession that needs to be officially answered. So this is absolutely not a cold case. They haven't officially answered why. We need to know how much Governor Abbott spent, allowed to be spent on Richard's case. That comes from Miss Amy Snoddy, and we're waiting for her response. We're waiting for Park University's response. That's also interesting. We have Park University's slight communication, which is also interesting. And so if you hear we have no, 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 that's a lie, lie, lie. It's a lie, lie, lie. And the truth is coming out. And we're going to get to the bottom of it. And it gets very dangerous. But what's the alternative to our service members? Who is going to stick up for our service members? You know, we have years and years. You know, my husband is a 30-year veteran. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. Well, wait a minute. They have been betrayed. They have been misused. They have been put in danger in their own barracks. They have been forged, defrauded, or frauded. How do you want to say that? Victims of fraud, waste, and abuse. Now, who is going to stick up for our service members? Because I don't want anyone to have to go through this. And our military is absolutely being, death by 1,000 cuts. Death by 1,000 cuts. That's what's happening in our military. And so who's going to stick up for them? Well, I will. I will. If the media doesn't want to, if Miss Kerchurga doesn't want to, which that's another thing that we have, if Media El Paso Matters doesn't care for our service members and allows them to be used and abused like they're being used and abused, and not sticking up for them, and not getting to the bottom of Richard Halliday's disappearance, which so many are watching. We have, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 subscribers that I know of. If they don't care, and those are the known subscribers, not the shares and whatever, we're going to keep going. And I haven't paid a dime to get subscribers. People are watching. Service members are watching. They want to know how long they have to put up with this betrayal. How long is our funds going to be spent on fraud, waste, and abuse? We need to turn off the spigot. And don't be afraid if you are an innocent person that works for the government, because you have to retrench, right? And, we need the workers. We need to vet. We need to vet and retrench so that we can have a better, more efficient Department of Defense and all other agencies. And so, because I hear all the time these government workers are just miserable in their jobs because it's like so cutthroat. It's cutthroat. Or they, have terrible commanders. So we need to retrench and we need to turn off the spigot to this corruption and this criminal syndicate that is sucking our wealth for some other country, for some other ideology. So thank you, everyone, and keep praying that we'll get answers for Richard and get answers about these missing children. All right. Thank you. Rob always says, tell them we love them. Tell them we thank them for their long support. And I'll be back tomorrow.